Come on, everyone. This is Sheets. Obviously, um, we are 1 hour until NASCAR time, so I figure I would just do some sims here. I'm just kind of running these things on my own. So, Brandon is off at the track. He's posting stuff on the Discord. It looks like he's having a really really good time out there. So again, this is no substitute for the stuff that he would do, but I figured as long as I'm building my stuff, I may as well just at least share my process and go over some of the things at least that I'm doing, and give you guys the opportunity to maybe kibitz in here, say who you liked if you're not in the Discord or whatever it is. Uh, and again, we get to take a look at kind of my ownership projections to see what we think of them. We were okay yesterday with them, but not great. So you guys can tell me what you think of these. If you think there's any of these are particularly particular outliers here. What do we have? So I see 53% Hamlin ownership. This is projected ownership. And then a pretty big drop to everybody else, like 35%, 35% Suarez, and then 29% Christopher Bell, 28% Keselowski. You see it over here, so I wonder if any of these really stand out as being bad. They seem reasonable enough to me, I guess. Maybe Hamlin can come in even more than 50, considering where he's starting from. But let's just see. All these top owned guys are coming from the place differential piece. You do have a 20% owned Michael McDowell coming from the 1, and then you have 20% Ryan Blaney coming from the 2. But everybody else that rates to have any kind of ownership at all is coming from the other end. Okay, so what does that mean to the average man? Well, let's start over. Let's just run it all over again. So let's rebuild our lineups with no whatevers and see what we get. Because I will tell you that I think the last time I ran these sims, I was getting almost 0 of the Hamlin. I guess because of his ownership. That would be quite the stand to take, to say the least. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the football today. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are sweating DFS, Survivor, betting, whatever it is. But NASCAR is, still putting up good, pretty decent contest today, at least in the lottery. It's more than you could say for baseball, that's for sure. So I guess first thing I would say is that let's just say we're going to run 50 lineups here. Before we would run the sims, you would see that we would be getting 82% Hamlin. 82% Hamlin. And again, just to remind everybody what we're looking at here, this is the regular Sabre Sim kind of ranking. So you look in the Sabre score single game, and you see that this is based on 100 times the sim optimals plus the sum of 0.8 times the sum of the projections, and then you subtract -2 times average adjusted ownership. So it's attempting to ding for ownership, which is probably a good idea. Okay. As Jacksonville scores a touchdown. So again, one thing you can do is just kind of stick with this and then decide on how many min uniques you want to go for. And again, a way to kind of deal with that is to make sure you have this average projection metric up, so that when you make these changes, you'll see what it does to you. So like right here, it says average projection 231.1. So if we went from min unique 1 to min unique 2, it would go down to 230, which is no big deal. And then when you went to min unique 3, it would go down to 225. So that's the big drop that you'd have to consider if you wanted to go from min uniques 2 to say min uniques 3. And just for the hell of it, you went to min uniques 4, then it's like a crash down to 198. Okay. So you want to go at most min uniques 3, but maybe even min uniques 2. Okay. If you just kind of stick with this. The next thing I do want to do is run a sim. Before I do that, again, I like to double check for uniques here. So let's just remind ourselves of how many people are going to be in this tournament. That's 13,725. So let's see. So we put our geo mean calculator, and if we wanted to limit ourselves to one dupe, then you would want to have a geo mean of 20.4, which is gonna be pretty tough to do. You know, well, here's one. I mean, you have to like really hunt. And as you see how sensitive some of these lineups are to even some mild changes, I think that's probably a little bit greedy to just force in low ownership, because whenever you do that, what it usually ends up doing is forcing in like the lowest owned player. And that's not necessarily what you want to do. Okay. That's just the way product works. So another thing you could do, if again before you run the Sims, is rank these metric in some other way. So you'll remember. So 225 is kind of our target point. Like this is what we're considering using. Now let's go to one of our custom metrics, which we created before, like yesterday for Xfinity. I showed you guys this, and you look at Sheets default. And what I did is create my own metric here, where you use 0.5 times sum of the projection, and then I use this 99th percentile outcome of the lineup. Okay, which SaberSim is so nice to give it as an option. Okay, and then minus 0.5 times the sum of adjusted ownership. So that's actually a pretty aggressive way to rank these things. Like to that point, like when I go to Sheets default here, I mean at 3 min uniques, we're down to 165. Okay, so it probably is not the greatest idea to use Sheets default. Okay, it just costs too much. But it's a good thing to at least double check with. Okay. All right. Next thing we're going to try to run the Sims. So we already had it all kind of set in here. The engineer and the other one, but we have to again figure out what contest field we want to use as our representative contest field. Do we want to use kind of what we built as our these 5,000 lineups? Or do we want to use basically what SaberSim ownerships are? Okay. We'll look through this again. So like here, we're going to resave these. And then we'll try to see what those fields look like. So like if you go into contests, field lineups, and SaberSim, that's the only one they're giving us here. Well, it's just going to be their ownership projection, which is 45% for Hamlin. Actually, not so much. So their exposure is going to be 39% Hamlin in this field. I think it's probably going to be higher, no, than 39. I mean, I think so. So like when you look at our build, like build 2, you look at the pool here, that's 58% Hamlin. I think that's probably more likely to represent the contest field. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this. We're going to use build 2 as the representative contest field. Let's get rid of this before I forget what I'm doing here. So engineer, we're going to use build 2. And then the spotter, we're going to use build 2 also. And I think that's a pretty sharp decision here on this particular slate. So, well, just because of the different choices it afforded us here. We're going back and forth to a horse race, by the way. We're gonna sweat this as well. We're gonna be rooting for the 2 in a minute, not right now. So we ran the contest Sims, and let's just see what we would kind of get here. And again, let's keep this in mind. This 230-ish like projection. Let's go. Well, which one is this? Which one do we want? See, they list them twice. So what I'm going to do, to the hell of it, I'm going to delete them all because this is confusing to me. Like I don't know which one is which. But we could we could redo it anyway, right? So let's go to build 2. We're going to add the contest sim, and then we're going to just make up our own. It's going to be, actually, no, we could, yeah, let's go MME. We're going to use build 2, payout structure. We're going to make from the engineer, save settings. Okay. And we're going to add another contest sim. We're going to call it the spotter. And we're going to again use build 2 and the payout structure from the spotter. Boom. And now we could rerun these. Okay. Now we're sort of in business. Watching the Titans up here. Ooh, slings it into the end zone. That's not going to. Oh, touchdown. Oh, my goodness. Bears are not off to a good start in the Caleb Williams experience. All right. So 231 without doing anything. Now let's take a look at the Sims here. And in the MME, we'll sort by risk adjusted ROI for now. Hang on. This doesn't look like it did anything. So let's. Okay, here we go. So we sort by ROI here. The average projection is still 227, which is pretty good. Okay. And now we could actually go down to min uniques 2, still 227, min uniques 3, 223. So that's a really big drop, big drop, and then min uniques 4 is going to crash it. So we have to decide whether we want to go min uniques 3 or min uniques 2. And just because, I don't know, I think I want to just have some different lineups here. Let's go with min uniques 3. And we will actually, it's having a tough time saving them straight to the entries. So we're going to actually have to download these manually, which is obviously not the greatest, but we're going to do it. So let's do this. And we'll put, hang on. We'll put these in there, and then we got to download the spotter as well. And then we'll go over what percentages I got. But again, I hope you understand that. I mean, it's the process that's so much more important. I mean, I think the projections are probably pretty good. But let's see. Boy, I really hope the Patriots can somehow beat Cincinnati. That would be fun. Like 40% of all the survivor pools took Cincinnati. I don't think I have a share of them. So that would be kind of fun if I could actually make that work. Okay, so the spotter. Well, Atlanta's shitting the bed in the aforementioned survivor thing, but the Saints are one of my top owned teams, as my top owned team, and they are just stomping. All right, so we're in. So do we want to? I mean, do we care who we have? I mean, probably not. So let's just take a look. So based on the process that we just used, okay, what we ended up with was 66% Hamlin, 40% Suarez, 30% Bell. So nothing particularly off the board, but it was pretty good, at least, that we were able to test our processes by doing that. So again, I wish I had more for you guys, but that's pretty much all I wanted to do was kind of run through my process here, and that's pretty much it. So good luck, everybody, today. Hope Cruz gets back next week. Hope he's having a great time.